Hi guys, this is Casey here. So for us, right, Geekigai, right, we are really all about ACG. So all ACG is just simply anime, all anime comics and all that stuff. That's very very geeky. So yeah, for us, right, our goal of this podcast is to really connect with just to bring together people that share the same interests. Of course, Singapore, we do have a lot of people that really really loves anime and or like just comic books and everything in general. Thus, we actually made this podcast to actually let people understand us better and to actually come and also be let's just try out and expose them to our culture to just remove the stereotype that anime peoples are weird and this or comic book dudes are weird. So yeah, that's our goal of actually doing this podcast. And
we are weird.
yeah, at the end of the day, yeah, it is weird. Yeah. So yes, I mean the iMac is not gonna hold for very long. So yes, it does have a self-destruction button. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, oh shit. You see lah, now like the camera is the iMac armor is like, nah man. Okay, I need to hold on to this for a while. So yes, we'll be releasing a lot new episodes on a weekly basis to actually let you guys understand more about us and kind of like understand about us a bit better. So I do have my host together with us, Lina.
Hello.
And Abi and also Sheldon.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, so all the four of us, right, will be talking about anything ACG related. And yes, if you're in our channel, just give us a follow. And also
like, follow, subscribe.
Yes, correct. That's the one that I'm hearing. I want to hear. Yes,
follow and subscribe.
And subscribe itself. Yes, before my days, I mean, have a dice on me. Yes, yeah. So yes. So now back to the episode.
I am inevitable.
Hi everyone! It is time of the year again, and though Black Friday may be over, con fever isn't. Just last weekend, we were at Anime Festival Asia at Suntec City, where all the geeks and otakus around came out to touch grass, and we were very happy to meet up with one another again. And coming this weekend, we'll be looking forward to Singapore Comic Con, happening at Marina Bay Sands, and towards the end of the year we'll be having the end of year J Culture, where if you are more into Japanese idol groups performing from local and overseas, this is the event for you to attend. So given that there is so much hype and excitement about conventions in December, we thought that it would be very apt and timely for us to dedicate our first podcast episode to talking about conventions and our experiences. So guys, perhaps you'd like to start the ball rolling by sharing with me or sharing with our viewers your first convention experience.
Oh, my first encounter with convention was really way back 2014-ish. Yeah, back then conventions are still generally a very new thing, but however I think compared to the recent conventions, I think there's actually more heart to it. Yes, I think something that maybe current conventions may be lacking is really a lot of heart. But end of the day, last time you can really see a lot of things it's really for the fans and to the fans and for the fans itself. Not saying that it isn't now, but I think that you see more dedication back when AFA or STGCC was still trying to discover themselves. Yeah, the discovery phase was really, really nice to see. Yeah.
I see. So if we have grown and developed a lot in the convention space over the last 10 years.
Yes.
And it has, in a way, lost its soul, I would say, based on what you're hearing.
Yep, definitely.
I see. Okay, so what about you, Abi?
Yeah, mine was also like 15 years ago. I would echo Casey's sentiment. It has definitely changed a lot. In terms of appealing to different sections of society, I think it does a better job now, though. Because I feel like the first comic conventions that I used to go to, it used to be mainly for comic book nerds. So we would have a lot of comics to gape at. There would be a lot of artists. The focus was also to get the sign or a new release and so on, artwork as well. A bit of toys then as well. Still remember, walking down New York Comic Con and then discovering that there's actually a very good line of Terminator toys, so I sort of bought them. But I think the good thing about today's Comic Con is, however, I think it can bring in a lot of different kind of people. So though one could say that it has lost its soul and so on, I feel like today's kids or people who are growing up and so on, they have a lot to absorb. Whereas like when I was growing up, it was just like cable television and
now we have Netflix,
occasional Fox movies and such like we didn't have so much medium, and comic books was a good source of what do I say, like sort of an escape or imagination. So from that angle, I do think it's a reflection of how we are now. We have so many mediums to compete for. So Comic-Con SGCC, which I'm more familiar with, has sort of morphed into something where you have toys, where you have games, where you have cosplayers and so on. So yeah, it does reflect how our times are.
Okay. So what about you, Sheldon?
For me, I'm still new to this. So my first convention was in 2021 for
Right after COVID?
SGCC.
What did it happen right after COVID?
Right after COVID, when we're starting to open up, yeah. So, unlike these two, I've never seen the SGCC before. My experience of Comic Con is great. Like my memory of it is just half of the hall is merchandise, the other half is like comic booths or different artists. I like it, but okay, my first Comic Con was just really weird. Maybe because COVID just finished. There were some booths like selling household items, like from
Daiso,
electric vibrating chairs, and like I think back then maybe they didn't get enough booths because COVID just happened. But my impression back then was like, what?
Maybe they just find themselves, just like we have nothing.
Just a few, one or two booths,
just to make up the space.
Yeah. So I was like, huh? But other than that, I had fun. Saw a lot of real life lightsabers and really fun when the Mandalorian show came out. Yeah, so many Mandalorians walking around. Yeah.
Okay, my first convention experience, I think similar to Casey, was probably back in about 2014. I attended it together with my husband and his friends, because back then we were very much into toy collections, and we were always looking out for the latest Transformers collections, and during the STGCC that I attended back then, there was still the T there. We actually bought like this Nero Rex or something like that cost about $600. Yeah, so I think that was my biggest purchase ever at a convention, and I have always questioned the decisions then. Yeah, but ever since then, I think AFA came up, and when I started entering into the world of anime, I attended AFA as well, and I found that I loved AFA more than SGCC, mainly because of my resonance with the anime and the Japanese pop culture, and compared to the Western. I'm sorry. Yeah. So but in terms of how it has grown and developed over the years, I would say that today I find that it's more widely celebrated. When I attended the first STGCC, there wasn't a lot of people who were doing cosplays. Maybe one or few people who are in their like Star Wars or something like that. But today, when you Stormtrooper, yeah. But today, if you go to AFA, you would see that at least half of the people there are in cosplays. And if you're not, you just you identify yourself as a normie. Yeah. So it's now feeling it's now the opposite effect. It used to be a case where if you're cosplaying and everybody will be looking at you like, oh. But now if you're not cosplaying, everybody's looking at you like, what are you doing? So I think things have really changed as the pop culture has been accepted in Singapore.
Yeah, that's true. I realized there's a lot of cosplays also. But also I realized, right, there's a lot of wrong cosplays. It's like suddenly I see a Spider-Man in the anime convention. It's like, dude, Spider-Man is in like DC and Marvel. Go to that side, man. Yeah, it's like, that's why I find it funny also. And also sometimes quite interesting also. I saw like a Potterhead like during this year's convention. I was like, this is definitely Angmoa cosplay. It doesn't belong here. But hey, at the end of the day, people, they want to do cosplay. Yeah, sure. I mean, nowadays it's always recommended that you try something. Come in a community, whatever. Like you want to cosplay, whatever. Yeah, just cosplay yourself, like just have fun.
Have fun and do what you want to do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but that's what I think that's very funny. It's like that aspect of convention where you see like this guy don't belong here.
Because he's not cosplaying the right show or the right genre.
Yeah.
I see. Oh, that's interesting perspective. But anyway, this is not part of the question, but I thought that since you brought this point up, I wanted to ask about what you think is the main difference between anime convention like AFA and Singapore Comic Con that is coming up over this weekend.
I think personally, for Comic Con, right, I think they are still discovering themselves also, because in the end of the day, like they did a rebranding also at the same time. So at the moment, they are still in a way discovering themselves. They don't know who they really are. They are trying to appeal to the mass audience and kind of like finding the right direction. While compared to AFA really found itself. It's for Japanese anime, for people that love anime. You come there, you're gonna enjoy yourself. So I think that's the main difference between the two of them lah. One is for anime, another one is still discovering itself. Thus, it has everything. Yeah,
Okay.
All across the board. I also don't know why Ultraman is there also, when Ultraman is clearly Japanese. Yeah. So it's like, there's also a lot of things down there that's like, that's why I say it's discovering itself also. But yeah, before it discovers itself, finding its right path, probably I will just wait for that, then I will just go back to support it. Yes.
Okay, what about you?
Comic books in its traditional form, right? Like the superhero comics of the, as you call it, like the Western kind. I think they are kind of on a decline in Singapore because the shops closing and so on. And a big part of Comic Con used to be like you kind of look out for new releases, new material that you may have skipped. But now what has happened, with so much of online material. All the publishers, the major ones like DC, Marvel, IDW, Boom, and so on, everybody pre-releases their, the first editions or pilots and so on. And therefore, people are kind of aware, and there's a lot more on the internet, thanks to Reddit and so on, that, people are more aware of what's in vogue. So the spirit of discovery is a little bit less as compared to anime festival, because you can see a lot of new stuff in AFA. However, that said, I still think in Singapore Comic Con, one of the things that I really look forward to, because it's a great platform to see Southeast Asian comics. So unless of course you are like traveling around, you're going to Jakarta Comic Con or the Manila Con, you wouldn't be exposed to the interesting comics that are coming out of these two countries in particular. But of course there's a lot of interesting stuff from Malaysia as well. So this gives me that exposure, I think, and that's something I really look forward to, and I'm going to look forward to this coming weekend. I did notice on Instagram a lot of these people who came last year, they're going to come again. So yeah, that's something to look forward to.
Actually, I think that's true also, because I think a lot of artists, especially Southeast Asian artists, they really get their time at this kind of like comic conventions itself. You don't get to see them like anywhere, and sometimes you go there, you'll be like, oh, actually they are actually releasing this comic book. Yeah, which is like, you never heard about them, but they are here, and then sometimes their artwork is really comparable with like, the better ones like DC and Marvel. So yeah.
I would actually say some have their very unique style.
Yeah, like, definitely.
One particular call out is Manix Abrera. I was never heard of him, even though apparently in the comic book nerddom, he was kind of a rising star. So I sort of saw him, and he was like very chill. Like there are some books you could just take a look, and I was blown. Like a very unique art form. And then as I sort of interacted with more people, there's I think I don't know whether you guys heard of the silent comics. So there are no blurbs in the comics. You just have to follow the art, and you have to sort of interpret the story how it's progressing. So that was something again very interesting. One thing, however, I've noticed is when it comes to Malaysian art form, I am not sure how the illustrated history is, but it is extremely dark and uses darkness or blackness very well. Similar to what you would expect, like Frank Miller in the Dark Knight Returns and so on. But again, not derivative. The thing that I would say that the stuff that I've seen coming out of Indonesia, Philippines, and Malaysia, it's original in its form and substance, because Malaysia especially takes a lot of inspiration from their folklores, and their folklores are not as famous, right? It's not like Greek legends or let's say the Chinese epics or Indian epics. So there's a lot of folklore story that comes to fore with their comic form.
Actually, that's quite interesting though, because I never thought that. Because I'm not I'm an avid reader, but however I'm not an avid reader of anything outside the realm of DC and Marvel. So you were saying that it's actually very tied to their folklores, right? Do you think that that's what make it very, very special?
Yeah, I think it does, because a lot of Malaysian pop culture we are aware of is based on horror, because they're very popular.
I won't remember.
Yeah, exactly. So there are a lot of horror movies that come out, right? So they used that base, but used it effectively to not just push horror, but intrigue, suspense, discovery. So I think that was very interesting for me. There's a lot of explorer stuff also going on, because it's also very unique, diversely topographical country. Like there's mountains, there's caves, there's beaches, right, and so on. So I think to be honest with you, if you're just looking for stories that touch your heart as more relatable, I think the Filipino comic book scene is amazing. Indonesia is a lot more like in the Korean movie style, like a lot of violence, a lot of sort of skullduggery, cloak and dagger stuff going on.
Okay.
And a bit of superhero stuff as well, Gundala being a special call out. But then in Malaysia, a lot of connection to folklore, a lot of connection to that, the stuff that I mentioned, a lot of discovery, suspense, intrigue. The build-up can be quite slow, infuriating if you're not used to it, because it seems like you're going pages and pages and not much is happening. Mm-hmm. But that's all for a good reason, because they're just trying to sort of prime you up.
Okay. So based on what I'm hearing from both of you, how I would see that Comic Con stands itself up different from AFA is that its exposure to this comic book artists themselves, because I think in AFA a lot of the booths that we get there are mainly fan art, or even if they do create their own art, it's very merchandise based and not so much story based or doing their own publications. So I suppose if you are looking for something that is really an original publication or original work, going to Singapore Comic Con would be the place to go, because you can't find that in AFA. All right, moving on to our second question. So perhaps Sheldon, you'd like to share with us first, since you're the one who has been attending conventions. You're the newest to the convention scene. What do you think is your favorite aspect of convention going, and or what do you typically look out for when you go to these conventions?
I'm more interested in learning how to cosplay now, so this is what I usually look at. I tend to look at the props that people are carrying, how they do their makeup. And one of my favorite things to do at these conventions is to ask different people how they make their things. Like, I remember taking a picture of someone like, I'm sorry, I gotta stop you. I really like your contact lens. It's quite blue. Where did you get it from? And she shared with me a Telegram link of a store that posts whenever the latest products are being sold. Like, for example, the things I look out for, the difference between SGCC and AFA is the characters that are being cosplayed, because the makeup for trying to look Western or trying to look Asian is going to be vastly different.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
How is it different?
I'm still new to this, but generally, from my impression, anime characters tend to look cute. You tend to want to have bigger eyes. You tend to want to have much paler faces because you really want to look like an actual cartoon character. And there are many ways you can do your eye makeup. My friend does it amazingly, where they can make themselves either look male or female. That's nuts. For Western cosplayers, I'm not sure how different it is, but it looks more close. I think the makeup is just different because you want
Maybe
to
it's
look closer
because
to a
of
Westerner.
the contours that they do. Because I know that in terms of like Westerners, they look more like white. Like I'm sorry,
White?
It's they maybe look more Westernized.
They focus more on, I think, angles and
Yes,
shading.
correct,
So you're right
correct.
on the contouring
Yes,
part.
correct. Maybe the contourings are a bit different, but I think in Japanese it's really like how animated you look.
They're not focused on getting the big eyes.
Correct.
They're focused on looking more realistic.
Correct. Yes. that's-
Especially if you want to dress up Doctor Strange, your goal is to look wise.
Yeah, you need to have a
and
good mustache.
maybe
for
you can
that.
contour your face to look older. Something like that.
True, that's actually very true.
Okay,
Yes.
I can't talk too much about makeup because that's too new for me. I'm more interested in the prop making. At the current moment, I'm learning how to make props using EVA foam. EVA foam is the same foam you use in the kids' playground. You know, the soft floor when kids fall down, they don't crack their skulls. EVA
Yes.
foam. And you can grab that, cut that, and paint them to make them look like wood, leather, metal. You know the
Skill is in the
Mandalorians I
thing.
talked about earlier?
Yeah.
A few of them, their helmets are either 3D printed or EVA foam. Yeah, use the shiny paint and yeah, it looks like metal. Until you poke it, you wouldn't know. So yeah, these are the things I look out for.
Actually, it's interesting because typically when I look at Sheldon, he tends to be a bit more reserved, more like an introvert. But when I saw him at AFA over the weekend, I was very surprised that he would really stop someone, a random stranger who has a really good cosplay, and ask, "Can you share with me more about your cosplay or your props or your whatever?" And I was like, "Whoa, this is a part of him that I don't know of." And it's amazing that how conventions just bring out this like inner geekiness in all of us.
And the most funny thing is that right when we were meeting we were going to a cosplay conventions together. Then after it's like he's like, "Hey Casey," then I turn around, I look at him, it's like, "This guy looks familiar, but I have no idea who he is."
Oh, you couldn't recognize
I
him in
couldn't
his
recognize
cosplay.
him. It's like, you are. Then after I look at it, okay, a formal costume. Okay, Sheldon, confirm. Yes.
Yeah, we really see a different side of you through this event as well.
He looks very different with and without glasses. I can say that for sure. Yes.
Okay, one day he must
It's
cosplay
like
for us.
Superman without glasses. Superman.
Oh yeah.
Now
Glasses,
you're
he
giving
just
people
pretend.
expectations. Okay. What about you, Abi? What would be the thing that you look out for during a convention?
I think I did speak about the Southeast Asian sort of comic book artists. The other thing to look out for me in SGCC in particular is artwork itself. Especially nowadays, it's not just sketches and paints, but it's also like digital art, not AI art, but just digital rendition of an art, right? So, wow! So the space has expanded a lot, and it's almost like you're walking through a museum, So just
It's just that you can buy the museum as well. You can bring your stuff home.
yes, if you bring a lot of cash. So one of the things that the viewers should catch on is that a lot of people in the illustrators, the artists, the comic book authors, etc. They're coming from overseas. So most of them have figured out the pay now system, and they have QR codes and such.
Yep.
It has also been linked to a few countries already, right? So, but it's always best to bring cash because it's very easy for them. Yeah. So yeah, if you bring a lot of cash, speaking of that, like you can buy a lot of those artwork. Yeah. But sometimes you just want to just admire, not just buy. And they come in all shapes and sizes. Like they would be like an envelope shape to come to an A4, A3, and so it's great. I mean, I just like to gape and occasionally buy.
So modest about that.
Yeah, true. I think they do have a lot of really, really good artworks. Like some of them is really realistic. Like some of them looks like Alex Ross art, which is another famous comic book artist, which does really, really good artworks. Very realistic. And sometimes they are like towards those kind of Frank Miller art. I think it's like something
Stylized.
like the boys kind of style, where the artist. I say he can't really draw, but he draws it in a particular fashion that looks very, very interesting. Yes, correct. The body proportions and everything. Yes, that's why I think I appreciate really a lot. I think especially about Comic Con is like you get to see a lot of these kind of artists that they have their own spin on things also. Yeah. So yeah, for me, I really appreciate that about Comic Con itself.
Okay, you would like to share about your purchase that you made as well?
Good question. I did quite a questionable few purchases also. I mean, done. This year's AFA was like totally done. I saw everything. What do you like about this anime this season? Oh, done. So, right, done. Yes, all the way. So I made a few questionable purchases. One of the purchases was the Wukong stuff. It's like, you know,
Yes.
okay. To be fair, when I was younger, I did wushu and I did monkey stuff, which is kind of like a throwback for me. So when I saw the stuff and I was holding it, I was like, brings back memories. Then I was touching like, oh, this looks actually quite durable and also looks quite detailed. So I was thinking, I walked a few rounds, like we walk one round, you look at it, it's like maybe I walk a few rounds and see how it goes.
Yeah.
After second run, third one, okay, maybe I think I should buy it. Yes.
There are certain things, there's certain appeal about staff, sword, slingshot, bow and arrow. I don't get it. Like it's probably a genetic memory, you buy these things. There's no need for it. Like there's absolutely no need for it.
I know, right? It's like there's no need for it. That's why when I went home, I asked my mom. I bought this. Then my mom told me like, what are you gonna use this for? I can't do my last time the wushu poses, like impossible. Because once I go up there, this thing is gonna break. Cause it's a bit of foam. It's like, what? Gonna hang my clothes with it? That is it's even worse. I buy stuff right.
And such
just
an
to hang
expensive one.
Yeah.
I mean, you could hang it on the wall like a weapon.
Yeah, but it wouldn't hurt anyone. It's like, oh, you're gonna fight me? I just take out my stuff, I slap it.
They
The
break
stuff
your
is gonna
toe.
break already. So it's like it's completely useless. But hey, I do appreciate the art and also the details that the prop maker has done to it.
Yeah.
But however, I realize that it's actually quite useless in my own opinion. But
Actually,
it's nice to see. It's nice to see, nice to admire. But just for display purposes.
Actually, going back to Abi's question about why do we spend our money buying all these weapons, right, that we have no use for. I don't know whether you all play role-playing games growing up, but I played a lot of role-playing games growing up. So I think hanging on or touching some of these weapons really brings back that memories, that nostalgia of us dungeon questing and being our paladins or our knights or clerics or what have you as well. So maybe that's what is the inner child of us calling out, take me home.
Yeah, I think so too. It's the inner child telling me that don't grow up, just be 10 years old.
Yeah.
There's certainly something to it. Like I can remember, a lot of times we would play with those swords, just clashing with each other, play acting, nothing
Yes.
serious. Yeah. I don't know whether that still happens though, because in this day and age where you can just activate a game on your mobile and stuff, we didn't have we used to have those console games, you just put in a cartridge and it's much more easy and haptic to just take up a sword and like that. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know how whether today is the same.
I think you can do it also, but I think it's just a very small percentage. Because I think in America, I think there's this, or in the UK, there's this thing called luck. I think LAR. Yes, correct. They just role play, just take a fake sword and then just slash about. Yeah, it does. You can do it, but whether or not we can actually replicate it in Singapore is just another thing altogether. Yeah.
There actually is a small LARPing community in Singapore, I've heard.
Oh, there is?
Yeah, there is.
Oh, okay.
This is the first time
I don't know much about
this.
them. I just know they exist.
Okay, we should go and do some research and perhaps one day we can invite them to our show as well.
Yeah.
Well, I guess for myself, my favorite aspect of convention going is the Creators Alley. I think you all would have experienced how I just go through every single booth and look at the artworks. Long time ago, when I first started attending AFA, I would usually buy fan art of my favorite games or characters or anime, but lately I've been moving more into original art. And I bought this 3 artwork from this particular artist that I really fell in love with because he really did a great job with the Japanese landscapes, and the colors just called out to me. And even though it was a bit pricey, I decided to go ahead and get it anyway. Yeah, so I'm really happy to see more and more booths are showing original art compared to fan art, because it does show that people are beginning to see that creating their own versions or styles is it's viable business. Viable in a sense, or viable hobby that pays for itself. All right. So
I think it's something that really is needed in Singapore though, because I also realized that, because end of the day, we are actually grown up in an environment where, we are convinced that, art doesn't sell.
yes.
But however, I think that, art does sell. However, I think we just need to create a market for it. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of really, really good artists in Singapore. Like, there's Singaporeans, but they don't have the space to actually, promote their art and also to broaden their scope also. So I think this kind of events really brings in a very interesting use for Singaporeans especially. I think if the government can catch up with it, they should really promote this event just to make it very Singaporean. So it's like end of the day, you come to our event, you see that there's a lot of Singaporean artists that is undiscovered by the entire world.
Yeah, I totally agree. We
That's
should do more of
one
this.
thing I want to say. And it does kind of link back to the question you asked me earlier, the difference between the comic convention and EFA. For me, another huge difference is what do you call it? Like the artists you were talking about. Only in EFA do you have local artists setting up their booths. I mean, for Comic Con, I guess local comic book artists will set up their booths. But EFA feels different. For the merchandising area, feels different. Comic Con merchandising is all the big brands. For EFA, a large portion of the merchandising people are made by local artists drawing their favorite artwork. And this does form one, interesting artwork, and two, a sense of community that the Comic Con doesn't have.
Oh,
Okay, because you see them every year. Or the shops you like, you see them, you know them, you chat with them.
Oh, that's true. The creators themselves, and you become friends with them, right?
Yeah, I think everybody who goes to con often knows a few of the artists personally.
Yeah, that's true. On the point that you talk about merchandise, I found that also over the years they have become more creative in coming up with new products. As maybe they go to Taobao or Alibaba and they try to talk to their manufacturers overseas and they introduce new materials to them. So for example, we used to be very common to only see A4 prints, A3 prints, but nowadays we get more charms and then knitted products. And a very interesting one that I came across is thermal paper. So basically, if you rub your hands very, very hard and then you put your heat on this material, it loses how to say okay, it's like a guy is dressed.
It creates an image, right? Because you rub it so hard
Yeah,
that the heat kind of
correct. It
creates.
removes the
What's
colour.
the image?
It's a picture of a guy.
Uh-huh.
So if you rub it hard enough, the shirt disappears and you can see the abs underneath. Okay, I know
Sounds
it
like
sounds
a very
sus.
good business idea.
It sounds sus, but it's a creative application of a product of a
Exactly what I
material.
meant. The creativity of our locals here.
Yeah, you just have to
So
give credit to them.
It's a good business idea, alright? It's a good business idea, man.
You must give
Yeah.
your customers what they want.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Although for guys, I think it's okay lah. For ladies, I think it's M18 lah. So it's nah.
No, don't worry. It's purely M18. We only see apps only, nothing else. But anyway, I didn't buy it lah because it was a bit too much for me also. Alright, moving on to the next question.
Yeah, let's move on.
Alright, so with so many things to look out for in a convention and all the different things that we expect and hope to see, how do we actually prepare ourselves for a convention? Make ourselves mentally, physically, financially prepared for it.
I think Abi has the right answer for this. Abi, you want to say?
Bring loads of cash.
Yeah, man.
Rob a bank.
rob a bank, then after you go to convention, then spend it all. Yeah, end of the day, where's the money? All is with the booth itself. It's not with me anymore.
Is that money laundering?
It is technically rounded if you think about it. I mean, but hey, you still get our goods. They get their money. The bank just loses its money only.
Okay, so bring loads of cash. You're gonna need it because you're gonna want to support all these local artists that we're talking about. And trust me, you will find something that you will be itching to spend your money on. Just take my wallet.
That is true. That's true. I mean, I believe that Abi is gonna spend a lot of money during this convention itself, right?
He's already.
Yeah, correct.
It's preordained.
Yeah. So it's bring lots of money, man. Yes. Expect unwarranted purchases, like my Wukong stuff. Never thought I would buy it, but now it's my home, still waiting for me to spin it.
I was still remembering how you were just sharing at the beginning of the convention when we were walking through. It's like, yes, no damage yet, still no damage. My wallet is still intact, no damage.
That is what I say every time. I was like, no damage, but then I come out with $100. Like, what have I done?
$100? I thought you only spent 50, right, on the stuff?
No, I actually spent another.
You bought a Dandan stuff.
Yeah, I bought a
Right,
Dandan,
sure.
like the standee. Yeah, for like $50, $51.
So they can get the free bag or something.
Yeah, I mean it's the hype. I think I'm just bought into the hype. Yeah, it's so hard to find done stuff nowadays. So like I can find one Stanley. I think I'm just okay, I'm done. I'm not gonna collect this anymore. Yeah, so I close shop on done already.
Okay, so other than preparing your wallets, what other ways do you prepare yourself for a convention?
Firstly, thank you for listening to us hypocrites giving you advice about how to save money.
Did we ever say we're going to help you save money?
I think
No, what, giving them advice that we can't follow.
actually can. You can save money. You just don't bring your credit card, don't bring whatever, just bring cash, bring $150.
And
Once
then
it's
that's
out,
it.
right, it's out. Yes.
Yeah, that's
Just
true.
like,
Set a budget
I want
for
to buy
yourself.
it, but then I have no money to buy it.
But then now with Pay Now, it's so easy. It's just.
Then don't use your phone. Just put your phone to airplane mode.
Yeah, okay, yes, Sheldon, what are you going to share?
Oh, the question is what to prepare, is it?
How do you prepare?
I mean, for me, obviously, I'll be preparing makeup and how to style my wig and clothes. I would really try to grab a friend to go to convention together. Because going to a convention alone could be overwhelming for some, and I have been overwhelmed before. There was one time when I went for Gamescom about 2 months ago in October 2024, and I don't know why, maybe I wasn't prepared. I went there alone, and after 2 hours I felt like running out. It was really fun. They were really displaying all the games that was going to be launched, and obviously a lot of interesting cosplays, but I just didn't want to be there. I wanted to leave, and I just left. I told my friends that, and they're like, yeah, you should not have gone alone. You should have grabbed someone. I was like, really? And yeah. My friend told me that for her, there was one time she went for a convention, and she was like clinging to a friend because she felt overwhelmed for a short moment. So that was quite a surprise for me.
Yeah, I think people may, if you are a first time convention goer, you may actually be very surprised at the number of people, the number of geeks and otakus who actually appear during conventions that you never know where they existed before that. Yeah, so don't think that you're attending a convention with only a few hundred people going there and stuff. We are talking about tens of thousands of people who will be coming to conventions, and they'll be like squeezing with one another, and they'll be taking photos, and they'll be making a lot of noise, dancing and laughing and shouting. Yeah, so yes, it can be an overwhelming experience if this is your first convention.
And also you might meet old friends also. Funny thing though, I met my my poly senior who is like 6 years my age, or 6 years older than me. He's like, bro, why are you here? Well, he was his fiancé. I was like, he was just screaming right behind me. I was like, oh, what the hell? I was like, oh my god, why are you here? Then it's like, oh, I'm just here to enjoy. It's like, wow, very very small world.
And you haven't met him for how long?
I haven't met him for like a year plus already. So I was like, oh wow, you are here with your fiancé. Okay.
Back then you were still single.
Yeah, actually he was already attached, but I was like, wow, your fiancé is cosplay and you're not cosplay.
Oh,
why? Yeah.
okay.
So yeah, expect to meet old people. Sometimes these kind of things it happens, and that's the fun part about AFE also.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Conventions.
Meeting old friends as well as new friends.
Yeah.
We share the same interests as you.
Yeah, especially with regards to anime festival, I think the point that Sheldon made about bringing someone along can actually be very practical when you're standing in the queue. The queues are like really
God.
yeah, like tremendous.
Yes.
You could potentially even spend a couple of hours in the queue. So if you have someone to have discussions with, sort of prepping up where you want to go, what you're going to focus on, I think it really helps. Sort of spend the time, because nobody. I for one, I don't really enjoy or dig standing in a queue alone for a couple of hours, right? The other thing is, because of so many things to see and a lot of queuing involved, there's going to be ebb and flow of energy. So when you have people around you, there's a certain amount of they people sort of back each other up in terms of energy level. right? When you're feeling down, the other people might be sort of having the flow time, right? Oh, you haven't checked that out, so they're gonna just drag you along and sort of excite you more. Yeah, so I completely get what you're saying. Yeah.
Okay.
I think you had experiences just queuing out alone, right? That's why you get
I do, because I personally like going alone.
Oh,
because
wow, same here. I also love going alone.
But when it comes to very long queuing, it's tedious.
Yeah, it does get tedious. You sometimes be like, oh, I need a friend along. Like,
Yeah,
at
but
least I
that's
can
the
talk.
thing. It's quite inconsistent. You don't know when it's going to be a long queue.
Yeah, I guess typically, based on my experiences with AFA, if it's a 3-day event, usually the Saturday is going to be crazy jam-packed. So most people would then just want to just go on either Friday or Sunday if you are not somebody who is a fan of crowds and or queuing up. Yeah. I think another practical advice to give or to prepare for yourself for a convention is please make sure you have your meal before you enter, because chances are, especially if you are in a cosplay, you are not going to eat anything all the way until you cost down, and that could be like 7, 8, 12 hours later. So definitely have a meal first, and if you want, bring some like protein bars or some cooked chocolates
snacks.
or some snacks. Yeah.
That's another way to save money.
Yes, correct. Because the food alleys, I was a food alley boofer before, so I do know that they have to make they have to make up the cost of the booth and make profits. So therefore, the price will not be very affordable, and so or very economical to be exact. And so you may not want to spend money there, and because you want to spend the money on the booths as well. And in process, you may just sacrifice taking the meals. So do remember to bring in some like candy bars or snacks to keep yourself going as well. All right. Yeah, you have something to add?
No, I think yeah, it's true though. Like I think the food generally, I think is a bit more, a bit more pricier. But I think that sometimes I think can try Yeah, I think one of the things that I think we tried was the
gyudon.
The gyudon. I think the gyudon was fine. The gyudon was
Okay lah, for the price.
in
You're talking
Singaporean
about
standard.
AFA.
Yeah, AFA.
Right.
That time we went. And the AFA that gyudon was fine, Singapore standard passable. Okay, passable, yes. But I think we tried the the green tea. I think was really good. It's actually way better than any other green teas I've
That's
tasted
just
in
a
Singapore.
regular bottle of green tea.
Yeah, but that one's branded. In a way, it's a brand lah. What
Yeah, but
Ito
it tasted better than any other green tea I've tasted.
Yeah.
Maybe my standards for green tea is low, but I don't know. Maybe
It's
so.
just the event, Casey.
Correct. Yes.
You're just thirsty.
Maybe it's just the event. So who knows? Maybe it's just the event.
The company, the whole situation.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah, but do check out the food alley on Sundays about 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock, because everybody will be selling off their stuff as much as possible, and you'll be at massive discounts if you really want to grab some food during that period of time. All right.
Oh, can I say one thing first? Since we are talking about bringing food to the place,
Yeah.
For AFA, I learned on Sunday that you can only bring snacks, you cannot bring cooked food.
Okay, that makes sense.
Just wanted to put that on record.
Yeah. Oh, actually, talking about that was an interesting experience that happened last year while we were boothing at Daijibu was boothing at AFA. There was this very entrepreneurial guy who was walking around with basket of bananas. He buys the bananas, or I don't know, his family supplies the bananas or what, and from the cold storage or the giant downstairs, and then later on after he just comes out to the convention and he goes around offering banana for $1 for anybody who wants to buy. I think that's a great service. I think this year we didn't get to see him though, but and I think he managed to sell enough bananas to make up for his convention ticket.
Lol.
Amazing.
You should have went to this year's AFA, man. There are so many jokes with bananas that he can do, man.
Really? There's a lot of jokes.
Dan is like filled with banana jokes.
Okay, we are not going there. I haven't watched it yet. Okay, so I can't contribute. Okay, so all right, let's move on to the next question. Alright, speaking about meeting people at conventions, one of the things that people go to attend conventions for is to meet up with their favorite fan voice actor or cosplayer, or even comic book artist as well. So have any of you actually met with a celebrity before during the conventions, and how was your experience like?
I think I was. I think recently. I think there is a rise in bringing more celebrities to Singapore. So I think last year they actually brought some of the Power Rangers actors to Singapore. And actually, it was a very big deal that especially in the community that I'm in, because I'm a huge tokusatsu guy. So when these kind of things happen, the entire community are all riled up. Say, yeah, let's go. Yeah, yeah. That's why I think they brought one of the Red Time Force Ranger.
From Time Force.
Yeah, Time Force. Quite a while back, man. That dude, as I watched him last time, it's like, hey, you actually aged quite a bit. yes, but hey, very cool actor, very nice, very down to earth, and and I think one of the things is that when in this kind of convention, he was in AFA, he was in SGCC last year, which I think that really these kind of conventions kind of open up a lot of possibilities of, let's say, from your childhood, this dude, I saw him when I was 3, or not 3, I think it was around 8, and then I'm meeting him again when I was 28. It's like, wow, there's a huge 20 years difference gap.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, no wonder he has aged.
Yes.
It's
Oh,
been
no,
20
he has
years.
aged. It's been 20 years. Yeah,
Okay,
yes. But yeah, it kind of fulfills a lot of it fulfills my dream of meeting someone that I kind of idolize. Although yeah, I mean for me, I'm more of a Japanese Power Ranger guy. In Japan they have a whole other series
The
which
Super
is
Sentai, right?
Yes, I love that more than Power Rangers. But hey,
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to complete all my 3 people. One Ultraman actor, one Master Rider actor, and one Sentai actor. But yeah, this guy will do for just my Sentai for now.
Okay, looking forward to the other
Yeah,
two.
correct. But yeah, I think I loved the entire experience. It was really nice, and also you thought that people would be like, oh, he's like me. Usually when it comes to celebrities, you thought that they might have some attitudes or stuff like that. But hey, he sounds very down to earth. Really passionate. He's even more passionate to meet me than I was to meet him. So
That's
wow.
very nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
as I think just generally a very different experience also. Yeah. So I feel that that was one of my my positive Comic-Con experience. Yeah, correct.
One of the few.
It's
Okay.
one of the few.
What about you, Abi?
Nothing of note, yeah.
Oh, but you did mention a lot about meeting up with all your comic book artists, right?
Artists, yeah. So, but in terms of the voiceover artists, I think the only thing I can remember is Kobe Smulders. I think she's called, right? Robin.
Oh yeah, Comic Book.
Yeah.
Yes. Last year, right? She
Yeah.
came last year.
So, yeah, comic book artists like every convention. So it's really good to meet them in person. Kobe Smulders was special because I have actually known her more, not for the MCU, but really for as Robin.
Yeah, your mother, right?
Even on the show, I don't like it as much. It's just I think she was hot, right? So right. So
Makes sense.
It's alright. We are among friends here.
yeah, but the comic book artists, mainly because especially the indie stuff, which is quite becoming popular. Last year was James Tyrion. He writes fairly complex themes, and therefore it's good to chat with them. You only get a minute or two because there's a long queue, right? So yeah, just or when the sign up is over, that's actually your best time to go and talk to comic book artists. So there's this time, they will give you a 1 hour or 2 hours where people just queue up and get their book signed, which I feel like nowadays I'm not into it at all. But after that, they're kind of free. So you can just go up to them and chat.
That was my strategy with Peach Momoko last year. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wait until everyone finishes signing. I'm just gonna go there. It's like, hey, Peach Momoko, can you sign this for me? Yeah. It's like, yeah, sure, definitely. Definitely post. Let's take a picture. Yeah. That was one of
Now that you brought her up, I think Casey pointed out how humble, approachable, and genuinely engaging celebrities can be, right? And she's Peach Momoko is a great example of that.
Yeah, she's really good, and she really appreciates it. When people see their art, it's like, wow, they're like, hey, I brought yours. It's like, oh my gosh, you brought this art. Oh, I love this art. Yeah, this kind of stuff. Yeah,
absolutely.
They actually, I think they also prefer us to show their enthusiasm for their art also. Yeah.
I
So
think
you got a lot of sign?
it's a positive vibe for them, and
Yeah,
it's a
correct.
reinforcement of the work that they are doing, that somebody loves it. Okay. Then, Sheldon?
Okay, I think I'll cheat a little bit for this question.
Cheat. Okay, no one's okay. Testing
That
you.
means I'm kind of bending the rules a little bit.
Okay.
One of the people I met during convention is somebody who has been cosplaying in Singapore for 11 years.
Oh.
and his name is Sean the Betty Bro.
Oh, okay, alright.
Yeah,
So
yeah, the
this
Dan
is-
Dan cosplayer.
Yeah,
that
they're
guy.
really good.
So this is a cosplayer who is one of the nicest people I meet during the AFA during conventions. And two, he specializes in dressing up as Western characters. Like he did a really good what's it called? The Batman that turned evil.
Zombie one.
The Batman who laughs.
Yeah, the Batman Laughs. He does a really good Batman Who Laughs cosplay. He dresses really well as Geralt of Rivia from Witcher.
Yeah.
He does really well Western characters. And I was surprised to see him during the EFA convention because he was dressed up as someone Asian.
And he was so friendly, right?
Yeah.
He was really
Okay, I
friendly.
didn't watch that done. What character did he dress
It
as?
was as Okarun, the transformed version after the Turbo Granny. Yeah, he got the Turbo. Shit, man, I shouldn't have said. I would like.
What, spoiler,
I would not
spoiler?
spoil you guys. Yes, yes.
Okay.
They must
Yes.
go ding.
After he lost his ding dongs, yeah, he got the powers.
Anyway, okay, the weird thing was I didn't recognize him, he recognized me because we do know each other outside of the AFA. And since during the AFA last week, it was my second time cosplaying. Most of you all couldn't recognize me, but he could, which was quite scary. Because I couldn't recognize him. He was wearing a very large mask,
he was really unrecognizable.
wig, makeup, and glasses specialized for the character.
I mean, he's wearing glasses, so he can recognize you. I'm not wearing glasses, so I can't recognize you.
He doesn't wear glasses.
Yeah, but you know, in the character, the
Yeah.
that guy, he wears glasses, so he's like, this guy looks familiar.
He got special powers
Yes,
to recognize
yes.
you.
So generally, I was happy to see him again. Kind of funny to see him though, because while we're chatting with him, he's being interrupted every 1 minute
Yeah,
by someone else to
his
take picture of
cosplay
him.
was so good. Everybody wanted to take photo with
Yeah,
him.
man, his cosplay
Yeah,
is
it was really
insanely good.
Okay, I don't know if this ruins the show, but he did spend a lot of time into the mechanics of his arms,
Oh yes,
which he
does.
told me he made in 1.5 weeks, which is amazing.
Which I was surprised that he made everything himself. It's like, wow, this dude really knows how. But you know, the dedication that he puts into the work is really commendable. Yes, yeah. If you guys see him ever, like I think we will just put a link in the show itself. If
Yeah,
you guys
yeah,
are interested,
yeah.
yeah,
Can.
that kind of stuff. Yeah, but he's really good at his work, I would say. Yes.
Yeah, that's my story.
Okay. Okay. In the interest of time, we'll just be moving on to the last question, so that after that we can wrap up. So, have any of you ever attended a convention outside of Singapore before? And if you have, how is it different from the one in Singapore, or better, worse, or how is the Singapore's convention different?
No, the end.
I'm not the right person to
Short
ask.
and
I'm
sweet.
too poor for it.
I do hope to go to the Japan one day, because I heard that there's a lot more to see compared to the Singapore one.
Yeah, a lot of
like
things.
10 times
I was
more.
looking at it, like every year they invite a lot of people. Like this year they invited Jason Momoa. Then I think they invited
Where?
to the Tokyo
Comic-Con,
Tokyo Comic Con. Really, a lot of big celebrities is actually coming. It's like I wish that Singapore we have the budget. It's like maybe just
Maybe one day will be big enough.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. Will be big enough to actually do it. Yeah. But yeah, I think overseas is really good. But I think Abi, you did go for overseas con, right? So how's the experience like?
Yeah, it totally depends on, I think, the place itself. So in the US I've only been to the New York one, and it's massive, like really massive, with a lot of subcultures, sort of attracting people with different interests, comic book genres, or anything, like there's a lot of toy interest, merchandise interest, so it's just a very massive field. You do need to budget in a couple of days at least,
And a few
to
$1,000.
explore properly. Yeah, a few thousand. Yeah, if you have the wherewithal. Yeah. What I've seen I'm very keen on going to the Japan one also. I haven't been myself. What I see in the Asian ones I have been is energy can be a little bit higher than Singapore. Yeah, like more. I think it's just like more young enthusiasm. Like there's a lot of frenzy, a lot of energy. Yeah.
Okay. I haven't been to an overseas one. I hope to one day, and I hope that Geekigai can go overseas one day together, and then we
If
can
only.
share our
Yes, if
experiences.
only.
Yes, sponsors. No, but yeah.
Abi, I want to ask Abi something.
Yeah.
Okay, so since you've been to these conventions overseas.
Yeah.
Does it kind of ruin the experience a little bit when it comes to Singapore?
No, not really, because for me it's really about the what the the artists are bringing in, like who's coming, what do I get to see. So to an extent you would like to compare, but I really take an experience by itself. Like for example, every Comic Con to me is special. Because there will be newer people, there will be newer artwork, there will be newer things to gape at, new things actually come in. Like the stalls, there are some, the regulars, but there are some new companies always. So I don't compare at all anymore. Of course I would like, as sort of we were discussing that
Yeah,
I
that's
would
what I
want.
was worried about. I was worried you travel overseas. Oh man, it's so much bigger. Come back to Singapore saying, yeah, we're tiny.
So is it like
But that's not the case for you, so.
No, it's not the case for me. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I was like saying, is it like you feel like overseas Comic Con is like trying out another flavor of food? It's like you go to Tokyo Comic Con, it tastes like sushi, but then Singapore it tastes like laksa, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's convenience, right? You have to sort of appreciate the fact that there would be 2 days where you don't have to travel, you don't have to budget for leaves and stuff, and you are getting to see so much, in a very packed itinerary. So yeah, I don't necessarily compare. I think it's really worth going still. Like even if you've had like an San Diego experience or even a Japan experience, I still appreciate.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, but I think that if you're going to San Diego, I heard that even with 3 days you can't finish exploring everything.
Oh yeah.
It's
I've heard so. All the friends I know who've been, it's crazy. But it's okay, if you can only afford to go once, it's good enough, right? It's, for a lot of our lives, one-time experience is good enough.
Yeah.
That is true.
And I think compared to Singapore, we probably can finish everything in Singapore within 1 day, but there is like 3 days, so it's like I think it's totally worth the money. Yeah.
Okay, but there is beauty in less is more as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that wraps up our podcast for Convention Fever for this
That's quite a
our
wrap
very
up.
first episode. But I wanted to share a bit about my perspective from my convention experience this year. Unlike the last few years where I've always been, it's always been a solo kind of effort because I attend the conventions with either myself or with my children, and we'll just go check out the creator booths, and then we'll just quietly enjoy our own hobbies or interests silently to ourselves. This year, I really put myself out there, and we really went out for the sake of the podcast to just pounce on random strangers and cosplayers that we thought were really wowed us, and we just asked them for interviews. And
The episode will be out soon, so
Yeah.
we're still editing it. Yes,
Or just
Yeah.
have fun being a nuisance.
but the thing is,
it will be on YouTube definitely.
But the thing is, everybody was so, I mean, other than some shy people, but everybody else was very welcoming. They were very willing to talk to us, and they were very willing to share with us what they really loved about their various fandoms. And I thought that was amazing. That was the best experience I've ever had in AFA, other than boofing myself. That this was the second best, because I realized that at the end of the day, when it comes to a convention, you get as much as you put in. Yeah, if you go in with the idea that I'm just going to go in and just do my own stuff, you will get just that amount. But if you are going in with hope of like meeting your favorite artists, you're going there to show them your best support, you're going there to show your creators and buy all their goods and show your loyalty to them and their support for them. Or if you're going there to just make friends and just pounce and talk to any random strangers and ask them about their cosplay, I think you get a lot more out of it. Yeah. And that kind of like sums up the convention experience that we wanted to share.
I think also at the end of the day, I think keep an open mind, because I think always the fact that a lot of times if you are a half cup full kind of guy, you get a lot of things in return. So especially the thing about convention is that, like what Abi said earlier, like you've got so many things, but if you are just focused on one thing, right, then you're not having the full con experience. Yeah. Although I mean, for me, I'm like I try to as much as be like half cup of person. So nowadays I try to be like a bit more like, okay, just go in there, see whatever there is in the con itself. I never go to Creator Fest when I was younger. I wanted, but now as well. Yeah, maybe I should just explore the Creator Fest, get to know their art and see it. And yes, it actually opens up a lot of appreciation for certain artists. It's like, wow, this guy does this art. thermal art, like what you
Yeah,
said,
correct.
which I'm still trying to appreciate. Yes.
To each their own.
Yes, correct. And I think there's also like the keychains. I mean, keychains is not bad, but
Yeah.
sometimes some people like to put their own spin on it. So it's like, yeah, quite interesting also.
Yep.
Yeah. And also there's this artwork where the guy, I think you were trying to buy, right, the 3D printing of something like that.
Oh yeah, the hollow one.
Yeah, that one also, like, very, very interesting. You will not see. So it's like a lot of things, like, you just need to keep an open mind to like go in there and just enjoy, like, different people's like interpretation of certain things.
Yep.
And yeah, just soak it in. That is soak it.
Yeah, and hopefully maybe it would also inspire you on your own creator journey at some point of time as well. Alright, so I think that's a wrap for our first episode, and we'll just sign out. Peace.